Well, man. We back.
Yep.
We back. Happy to be here. 49ers red today, man. Very happy to be here today, man. Let's get this on, man. Let's get right into it, man. My guy came out here. First of all, I'm Akeem, a host of the show. And we got my co-host.
This is Blair Coates talking to you.
Man, we got Grant Cohn. Legend. First of all, I was talking to him just a little bit before the show, man. Man, shout out to his pops, man. You know, long-time San Francisco columnist, man. And this guy got a lot of respect, man. This generational right here, man. This is an honor, brother. This is honor, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. You know, just trying to follow in his footsteps.
Man, yeah. Let's get some of this on, man. I know we got several questions for you, but the top 10 right here for you. Let's get into it, man. So mid-season, a lot of injuries. You know, we got some injuries, man. I think if we was healthy, we would definitely be ahead of this division, I believe, or maybe struggling with quarterback play still. So we may be right below Seattle, around that area there, because I think Shanahan can script up some plays. But talk to me about, how do you feel like we're going to finish for the remainder of the year with guys coming back after this bye week? How do you think we're going to finish this year?
It's a tough one because I don't know how much Deebo Samuel, Raheem Mostert, and Takaris McKinley are going to be able to impact the Rams game. Like, they might be able to do well in a few weeks, but McKinley's coming off a groin injury. Deebo Samuel's coming off a hamstring injury. Mostert's coming off a serious knee injury. I mean, the vibe I'm getting from the Niners is to not expect much from those three in particular after the bye. Maybe they'll get more from them like week 15, 16, 17. But if they can't win any games before then, what's the point bringing it back? So I think like a lot depends on what they do against the Rams with kind of the guys who've been around the last few weeks.
So what are your thoughts when it pertains to Kyle Shanahan and Nick Mullins? Just that dynamics. I feel like Nick is going to have to finish this season. I don't think Jimmy's coming back. I know people's talking like it's a possibility. I don't personally want to see it. I've already, we've already rode that horse for me personally. Mm-hmm. So how do you think this dynamic is? Do you believe that Nick Mullins would be back on a roster next year, based on his performance between now to the end of the season? Because if he kind of falters, do you believe he'll be still on the roster?
I think he will still be on the roster. He'll be a restricted free agent. I think they'll pick up his tender. To me, he's the perfect backup for the perfect backup quarterback. I mean, he knows your system. You can win games with him. He's never played a game with both Raheem Mostert and Deebo Samuel, which is that's like training wheels for a quarterback. I mean, they make your job so easy. That's your run game. So I'm not saying he's the franchise quarterback, but to bring him back as the backup, yeah, I think he's one of the best backup quarterbacks in the league. You wouldn't bring back CJ Beathard, and then I would expect that they're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, although we'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, as a backup, absolutely. And I think the reason you can see that they're going to bring him back is they refuse to bench him. I mean, they benched him for a second for CJ Beathard, but they always keep coming back to Mullins because he has value. Remember, they turned down a trade for him this past offseason. He has value.
I mean, Nick Mullins knows the offense, like you just said. Kyle Shanahan is going to use him as a security blanket. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be there next season, so I'm kind of with Grant there. I do think Nick Mullins is going to come back. But talking about players that we think are not going to be there, I got two names for you. Trent Taylor, Javon Kinlaw. Okay, two people that are underdeveloped, not really playing to their potential, if you will. It hasn't worked out. What do you think their future is for this team?
I don't think they have a future with this team. Jerick McKinnon, I feel for. He didn't do anything wrong. He was a terrific athlete. He got a great contract with the Niners. He tried. His knee blew out, and he came back 2 years later. That's a great comeback story. But he's a running back, and you can see that he doesn't have the explosion, quickness, speed that he once had or needs to be effective. So, sorry, Jerick. He can go, especially when it seems like JaMychal Hasty's good. Raheem Mostert's good. Jeff Wilson Jr. is good. They don't really need running backs. And then Trent Taylor, again, I don't think he has a future on this team, on any team in the NFL. He was decent as a rookie. I liked him in 2017. He was decent.
So you don't so you don't think that Trent Taylor can go to the New England Patriots and catch a couple balls out there, man?
2017, Trent Taylor could have. But what I've seen from him on film is that he used to be one of the quickest players in the league. You go back and look at his tape in 2017, or you look at his 3-cone and 20-yard shuttle numbers from the combine, they were elite. You look at his film now, he has no quickness. He has had back surgery and foot surgery, and when he goes into those little option routes over the middle, he's got nothing. So really the way they use him now is like running deep clear out routes, and he runs probably a 4.7. He needs to retire.
I seen your video, man.
It's not personal. It's just professional sports, man. You're just in the way of Richie James, basically, at this point. Let Richie James have a career. Sorry.
I definitely think. What do you think about Richie James? That was one of my questions for you too. So you got Richie James, we got Kendrick Bourne. I know they're fighting for the third spot. I know Kendrick actually didn't look bad this last week. The only time that Richie messed up was on special teams. So who do you think has the leg up going into the next couple of weeks on that third spot? It's definitely not Trent Taylor. It's got to be Richie or KB.
If I were the offensive coordinator, and I'm clearly qualified to be that, I would use them as in a platoon, depending on the situation. You know, if it were first down, I'd want Richie James out there. If it were third down in the red zone, I'd want Kendrick Bourne out there. Or if you're trying to throw the play action pass to the wide receiver running the dig at 15 yards through the linebackers and safeties, I'd want it to be Kendrick Bourne, because I've seen Richie James try to catch the ball. He'll like try to catch it with his body. If I want a hands catcher over the middle, it's Kendrick Bourne. If I want someone to run a fade or an end around, or I want it to be Richie James. So I would split snaps for those two. I like them both.
And that's a perfect segue into something I was thinking about asking you. So when I look at this 49ers offense, I know Brandon Ayuk, he is the wide receiver one. He just has those skill sets and that attribute about him. Deebo Samuel, the Swiss Army knife playmaker. I want to know, who is the real deep threat for this 49ers offense?
It's George Kittle. No, it is George Kittle. In the sense that you don't have to have 4.3 speed to be a deep threat at tight end. But I really think it's also Brandon Ayuk. You can't see it right now because the Niners quarterbacks are Jimmy Garoppolo and Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins is a good downfield thrower. He's statistically a good downfield thrower, but he's not bombing away up the sideline like, Carson Wentz could. If the Niners were to trade for Carson Wentz and he could throw to Brandon Ayuk, I think you could finally see Ayuk's full skill set.
Got it. Yeah.
What about Richie James deep? You don't like him going deep? He seems pretty fast, man. And
I like him too.
C.J. Beathard overthrew him.
Yeah.
On a play. Was it under? Did he have to go back and get that?
When he came in for the one throw against the Saints,
yeah,
Richie James was open and the ball was underthrown by a cool 5 yards.
Okay, so we just don't have nobody
like
with
James
arm
too.
strength.
I like James too, and actually, I think Debo's pretty fast. If they imagine Carson Wentz as the quarterback of this team, what these wide receivers would look like. Now, they're kind of used as running backs.
Hey, I said that earlier. I had Wayne on the show, Wayne Breezy, and I was talking to him, and I was saying, like, we have a C quarterback, like an average quarterback, and I think Nick Mullins is a C minus. So if you're comparing the two quarterbacks, I'll at least take a B. Wentz is about a B quarterback. Like, he's not an A quarterback, but he has an arm. He can manage a game
with A minus athleticism.
I
feel like I would like to see Wentz in Shanahan's offense, because I don't think much of Doug Peterson's offense. Like, Doug Peterson's offense is the RPO stuff that honestly is better suited for Nick Foles. Carson Wentz needs to be under center, play action, throwing downfield. I'd love to see it. I think he'd be great.
I'd love to see any passer in this offense. Like you're saying, I mean, I'm seeing players' careers. It's just they're being ran into the ground. I mean, that's why Deebo Samuel is hurt. Like he's being treated like a running back, and it's just unfortunate.
Agree.
So I got some quarterbacks here. You name a quarterback that you believe has, and these are free agents. We're not free agents. These were guys we can acquire or free agents. So I'm gonna name some quarterbacks. Well, they're all in the contract. So tell me, who would you pick? I got Matt Ryan. I got Matthew Stafford. I got Kirk Cousins or Sam Darnold. Which one of those would you pick for Shanahan and the 49ers the way we're built?
Oh,
I got you then. I think I got you on that question, man.
If it all were the same, I'll take Matt Stafford. I mean, forget Kirk Cousins. Matt Ryan's cool, but he's about 37. And who was the fourth person you said? Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold.
That's my official analysis of Sam Darnold. So, yeah, give me Matt Stafford. I love Matt Stafford.
I like Matt too.
That's a guy who's been on a bad franchise. He's never had a running game. He's never really had a defense. He'd have both of those things here, and he'd have Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Jordan Reed, Deebo Samuel. Matthew Stafford. Please.
Yeah, and
thank you.
So, and this is
although I prefer Carson Wentz over all of them.
Oh, of course, me too. But let me ask you this. But it's kind of continuing on from this question a little bit. So this is where I feel like, because I agree with you, Matt Stafford. If we don't have a low pick, I believe if we have a low pick in the draft, top 15 around there, to grab one of these quarterbacks. I think if we grab one of these quarterbacks, we need to go after Manny Ice.
Oh.
That way we'll have a couple years with that guy. He got a couple years left, and then then we can cycle him in. What do you think?
The way I look at it is if they have an opportunity to draft a quarterback, I'm all for going cheap at the quarterback position. It works. Look at Arizona. Look at Miami. It works. You can get good quarterback play in 2020 for cheap. You don't have to spend a lot. It's kind of like 25 years ago when people realized you could do that at the running back spot. You don't have to spend a first round pick. You don't have to spend $50 million on a running back. You can get good production. I think it's the same thing now. Look at Miami. Miami's a contender because they've loaded up the rest of their roster and they're spending nothing at quarterback. The Niners could do that too. You don't necessarily have to bring in Matt Ryan and spend $40 million at quarterback. You could bring in Kyle Trask from Florida and say, you know what, we're going to put him in the best situation possible, and feel like the transition from quarterback to the pros is not as drastic as it used to be. I think these quarterbacks in college are running pro systems, man. Look at Joe Burrow. He was running the Saint system at LSU. He's setting protections at the line of scrimmage. He's in 5-man protections with no running back. He's seeing all kind of different coverages. I don't think there's that big of a deal, that big of a difference anymore the way it was 15, 20 years ago, 5 years ago.
Well, I think a lot has to do. Yeah, go ahead.
With their first pick, do you think they take a quarterback?
Hell yeah. I think they trade Jimmy and they get their first round pick and trade up and get whoever the hell they want, whether it's Zach Wilson Zach Wilson or Trey Lance, basically. One of those two.
Yeah, we cannot.
Why mess around?
Yeah. I don't like Fields at all, but we can.
Me neither. Can we talk about that for 30 seconds?
Oh, yeah, 100. Man, I'm not a Fields fan. I mean, I think these Ohio State quarterbacks, too, are questionable. I think it's certain teams. I don't know what it is, college teams that just can't produce certain things. You know what I mean? They just
Ohio
can't
State
do
is
it.
one of them.
Yeah, quarterbacks, man.
Let's break it down real quick. What it is about Ohio State quarterbacks? They're all good athletes, but whatever they're doing at Ohio State doesn't prepare them for the pros. First of all, they have 5-star running backs, 5-star offensive linemen, 5-star wide receivers. But it's a spread system. It's simple, and it's all built around the run game and the zone read. So defenses in the Big Ten, which aren't that athletic to begin with, have to sell out to stop the run. So the coverages that the quarterbacks see are vanilla, 8-man front, zones, like cover 3 a lot. 3 deep, 4 underneath, 8 guys in the box. You don't see much. And it's basically wide open stuff. And like their process of reading coverages and deciding where to go is like checkers compared to the NFL. And it's not that they're not good. It's just they weren't prepared for the NFL the way that LSU prepares you, or any other BYU, any other place besides Ohio State.
And if you think about it, I always look at Ohio State as they don't really play anyone in their whole league at all, and their non-conferences don't really be that good, so they really don't see nobody until it's time for a big game championship wise. So if you look at like LSU's and all those schools, like they play, there's just dog fights out there. And you say what you want about Pac-12. Pac-12 is a dog fight. They're all about B teams, C teams, and it just depends on who shows up that day to win football games.
Exactly.
It's a dog fight, so that's why they. I just don't think the competition is there. But so that
same with the SEC. Like the quarterbacks at Ohio State will never experience the talent advantage in the NFL that they enjoyed in college. I mean, they were just way better than every team they faced.
Everybody, it's not even close, and not even close. Yeah, that's because of Jim Harbaugh too. But that's another subject. So
I feel bad for Jim, man.
I don't, and he dumped us. I don't at all. So that's I'm a sore
mutual parting.
I'm a sore loser. Okay, I'm a sore. I like Jim when he was here, and when he left, he didn't leave us with much. So
I thought that was on Jed York a little bit. He didn't step up when he
of course
have.
Jed York. I give Jed York some credit. And let me give him some credit. He said, you know what? I don't know anything about football after Tom Timsula and that mockery and Chip that garbage Kelly.
Trent Baalke.
Oh my God, Trent Baalke, that garbage Kelly. So he said, you know what? I don't know anything about football. Let me get out the way. Let me go get this Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch and get him 10-year contracts if I need to, because I got to get – I don't know football. So I give him the respect of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he's respected in within the organization?
Do I think Jed York is respected within the organization? No.
Yeah.
I don't think Jed York is respected within his house. Sorry, I mean, not to get too personal. I mean, it's Jed York. It's Jed York. Yeah. No one respects Jed York. He's just rich. He has a team. His parents gave him a team. He's a billionaire. That's who he is. I mean, everyone knows that. I don't think the players respect him. I don't think management respects him. It's just people who kind of hang around him and do business with him or don't. I mean, I think it's great that the Niners have John Lynch because he's kind of a buffer to all that. Everyone respects John Lynch. Mm-hmm. He's a Stanford guy. He's a Hall of Fame player, borderline. He's a stand-up guy. He's a stand-up guy. Jed is Jed. So it's great that they have John Lynch, is all I'm saying. He's a really important person in that organization.
Question. Man, this one's a big one for me, man. Have you heard any rumblings about D Ford possibly retiring, man? Because I'm worried about not getting out of that contract. It's really affecting the Niners' wiggle room to do some things in the offseason, I feel. So I know you're the guy. You're around the organization, man. What is it that you know about D Ford, man?
I've heard no rumblings. I mean, there's been the Twitter rumblings, and I think everyone has heard the same thing. So yeah, I've heard that it's possible that D Ford is considering retirement, but I don't know if that's true. I've heard rumors that I wouldn't write or substantiate. But it seems to me that what I'm guessing, what it seems like happening, it seems a lot like what happened with Joe Staley. Joe Staley was alarmed after the Super Bowl and apparently went to the Niners and said, I'm going to retire. And they said, you don't have to make that decision yet. It's February. Take some time, go to a doctor, get a second opinion, heal up. And then when the draft comes around and we have to decide what to do, let us know by then. And then they went back to him and they said, so, Joe, you still want to retire? And he was like, yeah. So it seems to me if that's how they do business, and D Ford really did have a career-threatening neck injury, D Ford could come up to them in September and say, guys, I want to retire. This is scary. And they could say, don't make that decision yet. Wait a little bit. I'm just guessing. If that's what they did with Joe Staley, why wouldn't they do it twice? Take some time.
I think the respect factor for Joe Staley is here. And I don't know if they really have a relationship with D Ford like that. You know what I mean? I think more of it's. I think Do you think there's a possible buyout that can happen? Like, hey, man, let's see if we can settle something on this contract. You think it's?
Yeah, they'll figure something out. It seems, especially now that they have Takaris McKinley. I mean, Tack McKinley seems like the obvious replacement for D Ford. I mean, that guy has a future with the 49ers. D Ford doesn't. So they'll figure something out. But D Ford's not going to be in this team next year. I'd be shocked.
You said who's his obvious replacement?
Tack McKinley.
I know we just picked him up today. I got it. I got that as a question, but I know we just picked him up, man. How? First of all, I don't even know why he got cut. But talk to me about what do you think he can do for us, man?
I mean, he's got a groin injury, but so I don't know how much he can do in the short term. But next year, like the role that D Ford had last year, that's him. That's it. I would imagine. I mean,
not as
coming off the bench. No, not as lethal, but also more dependable. On the field more.
Yeah,
so he could actually have a bigger impact.
Give me somebody other than D Ford, man. I can't.
I think what they can do is, as well as pick up his 5th-year option, because he's a first-round pick on his 4th season in the league. So they could pick up his 5th-year option instead of Solomon Thomas. Same draft class.
I got a question.
No, he's going to be a part of the future. He's a nice pick for them. He's a nice little piece.
I thought so.
They should also get DeAndre Baker, by the way.
Oh yeah. Why not? Because I'm not really feeling. Let's just be real. We don't have playmaking safeties. We have safeties that's around the area, there to make the tackle, not there to knock down balls. They're a step slower than everybody else. Obviously, Tart. We need to move on from Tart. We can definitely find somebody in the draft better than him right away. I'm telling you, 2nd, 3rd pick, and our best safety to me is more on the bench. I don't know why we don't play him. I don't know why he doesn't get any tick. Maybe he ain't cool enough with the Robert Saleh. I don't know, but I'm not really a fan of Jimmy Ward. He just don't make enough plays for me. What do you think about, man? What do you think about Jimmy Ward and them guys back there, man?
Overpaid. Jimmy Ward's a fine player, but for $10 million a year, he needs to catch the ball that hit him in both hands against the Saints. You know that catch that Malcolm Jenkins made, picking off Nick Mullins? That was a hell of a catch. Nick Mullins was late with the throw. He stared it down, but my goodness, a hell of a catch. And when Jameis Winston handed an interception to the Niners on a platter, Jimmy Ward just didn't want it. He just couldn't catch it. It's like, for the amount of money they're paying him, he needs to catch that ball. Needs to.
So if we're looking at players that are not going to be here, what is a big name that we expect to be gone next year? Like, I think Quan Alexander, that was a huge name that I did not expect to be gone. What's the next name that we won't see in the red and gold?
Please don't say Trent Williams, man.
I'm not. Look, the big name that's not going to be here next year. Are you kidding? I mean, it's obvious.
Jimmy.
It starts with a J. It's Jimmy Garoppolo, the starting quarterback, the highest paid player on the team, $27 million man. He's gone. Yeah. I think he's gone. And when Kyle Shanahan said he's going to be the quarterback next year, until they're in a position to draft Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or get Carson Wentz. I mean, great. Yeah. He's the quarterback for now. And they're trying to get him to come back for week 16. I mean, obviously they want him to come back and play. But if I were Jimmy Garoppolo, I would already understand that I'm done. The writing's on the wall. Protect yourself so you can go back to New England or something. Yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's gone.
That may be his only place is looking at the landscape of the NFL. Maybe there in New York. I'm not sold on Daniel Jones. But at least Daniel Jones tries to chuck it.
Run last week.
He looked like
I wonder wherever he goes, are they just going to hand him a starting job, or is he going to have to do the Ryan Tannehill route?
Ryan Tannehill
he might have to earn it because he gets hurt a lot.
I don't know. I think I would take Ryan Tannehill over Jimmy right now, though, man.
I would too. Ryan Tannehill actually can play football and not get hurt.
Easily.
Sorry, Jimmy, but that's part of the job.
So, other than the quarterback position, give me a position that you say, we need to bring in a big free agent at that position.
I mean, dang, that's a good question. See, I don't know if that's a fair one. I don't know if I can really answer that because I don't know that they're going to be bringing in big free agents next year. I think you got to look at what they're going to be doing. They're going to be creating cap space to re-sign Fred Warner. They didn't understand.
And Trent Williams. Trent Williams.
The two of them. They have no backup plan. They got to keep Trent Williams unless they really believe in Justin School. You like Justin School?
No, bro. No, bro.
And it's like, I don't see how they can draft an offensive lineman because they're drafting a quarterback.
And you gotta keep the best. He's the second right now. I've seen Pro Football Focus, and I know they're sketchy at times, but they have him as a number 2 tackle in football right now. Number 2.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. I don't know. What are you going to do there? So you got to re-sign Trent Williams. You got to re-sign Fred Warner. And they didn't understand that Fred Warner was going to elevate himself to be the best middle linebacker in the league, the best player on the defense. He's now basically worth what DeForest Buckner's worth, $20 million-ish a year. The top paid middle linebacker right now is Bobby Wagner, who's about 9 years older than Fred Warner and making $18 million a year. So what's Warner going to get? 19? He's going to get about 19.
Fred Warner is definitely the best middle linebacker in football.
So he's going to be getting more than George Kittle. He's going to be getting 19. And then you got Trent Williams, who's going to be right around there too. I mean, David Bakhtiari just got $23 million a year. So where does that put Trent Williams? So I don't know that they're going to be necessarily going out and getting the best cornerback on the market or the best safety on the market. I think they're going to be like clearing cap space to keep 2 cornerstone players.
Got a couple more questions for you here. You got something, Blair?
Yeah, just thinking of my guy, Raheem Mostert. Is he a 3-down back or not?
Well, you know what? The answer is no until he proves otherwise. The burden of proof is on him. I love Raheem Mostert, and anytime he's on the field, he's a weapon. He's a threat. He's averaging 6 yards a carry. But look, I mean, the fact of the matter is he's never actually been able to carry a full workload in his life. He was a wide receiver in high school. He was a backup running back in college. He's a special teamer until he was 28, and he has great efficiency. And I think there's probably a reason the Niners didn't start him last year and only gave him 11, 12 touches a game. From what I heard, he had a knee issue last year that they were trying to manage. So I don't know, but that's what I heard. So, I mean, he needs to prove it. He really is fantastic. He runs hard. He's elusive. He has probably the fastest player in the league. But he can't stay healthy for more than a few games at a time when given a huge workload. I hope he can. I'd like to think the answer is yes, because he's a great story. Like he's like the best story in the NFL. He's like the gladiator who was nothing and then grew up to be the best. You know, it's like the Russell Crowe story.
I like I like Raheem Mostert, but I do believe our best weapons are all of our running backs. I like Coleman too. I like Coleman. I like definitely like Wilson. I've always liked Wilson. I don't know why he doesn't play more, but he's definitely the hammer out of all of them. Like he's the guy, and he's kind of like body wise, he could definitely go all 3 downs if he needed to. Man, he's a freak. So I think we may lose Coleman next year, and I think if we do, we're gonna probably start Mostert, but I think the heavy load will go to Wilson. And I think
you got Hasty after that.
I think Hasty, but I think they'll probably draft somebody too late. 6th round.
Just sign an undrafted guy. Every time they sign an undrafted guy, he's good.
Yeah, he's good. Matt Breida and them, huh?
Savon Ahmed over in Miami. The Niners signed him originally and cut him. They should have kept him.
Man, he looked good.
Yeah,
should have kept him.
So, all right, here it is. Okay, so I was talking about the big free agents earlier, and the reason why I wanted to talk about that is because I know we got Jason Verrett, right? So Jason Verrett, I feel like it's time to extend his contract right now when he's
are you sure about that?
I'm just saying extend, meaning we don't need to break the bank on him. Because
I like it. I'm just saying, don't you want to see 6 more games? Don't you want to see him stay healthy for 6 more games?
I do, but I've seen it. I've seen enough to say, let's extend him 2 years. Let's do the Mostert deal. Remember that Mostert deal?
Okay.
You know what I mean? You came in and say, you know what? We value you, deal. We value you. Here you go. Couple little.
Because if you wait 6 more games and he stays healthy, he'll be even more expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you do it now, you might get a discount. Okay.
So,
all right, I see what you're saying.
So the reason why I say we save money there, we keep E-Man, but I think Richard Sherman, and I love Richard Sherman, but if he doesn't come back, if he can't come back with some type of discount, I think we may have to move on for Rich. And I hate to say it, but because I'm a huge fan of leadership, captains, but I think Fred Warner is taking that over now. So I think we can move on from Sherman. And the reason why I was asking about the free agencies is because I do feel like maybe possibly if we're going to get a big free agent, it needs to be a DN or safety. What are you thinking about?
If we're going to get a big free agent, it needs to be a DN or safety.
DN or safety. I don't think or guard or
right invested on the D line.
Or
I would have to say you're super invested on the D line. Mm-hmm. You got to get you got to overhaul this offensive line. I like the safeties. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jimmy Ward isn't going anywhere. Tavarius Moore is a good player. I like Marcel Harris at linebacker. I like DJ Maiden at safety.
You say you like Marcel Harris at linebacker?
Yeah, I do. I thought he was better than his. I do. I mean,
he's a hitter. He's a thumper. He just can't.
You don't have to be 225 to play weak side linebacker.
But I just don't think he can get off no offensive lineman, though. I don't think he has that bulk. He can't get on no offensive lineman.
Yeah, but they protect him schematically. He's playing behind defensive linemen. He's the guy. He's playing Quan Alexander's spot, and Quan Alexander was like 7 pounds bigger than him. I mean, there's not that much of a difference between them. I like it. I thought it was good, and I actually think he brings more physicality to the spot than Azeez Al-Shaair.
Oh yeah,
he is a Azeez. Azeez just gets beat. I don't really see what he does.
I'm not really a Shaair fan yet. I haven't seen nothing. I haven't seen a play that I can say, you know what, this guy's a 49.
He's a fine backup, but he doesn't do anything. I mean, I like Marcel Harris. Marcel Harris actually is around the ball all the time. He recovered a fumble in this last game.
2 of them.
Yup. He's a good player. I like him.
I like Moore, man. Why don't Moore play, man?
He's going to play from now on. They were, I guess, they paid Jaquiski Tartt this money. Jaquiski Tartt's a solid player. So they just had Moore as a good backup, but now it's over for Tartt. He's done with the Niners. And they got to play more. I mean, this is the way it is. Nothing against Tartt. It's just the business.
It's the business, man. Yeah. Just the business.
Yeah.
You got anything, Blair?
No, nothing written down. But if you look at this team, is this team declining, or do we look at this team and say it's a couple draft picks away from being right back into the Super Bowl?
That's like the best question. That's the question, right? Usually I'm really negative about the Niners, but I have tremendous respect for what the coaches are doing this year. I mean, especially Robert Saleh. He's doing an A+ job. He has a top 5 defense without Nick Bosa and D Ford and Richard Sherman. I mean, it's a hell of a defense. Jason Verrett's playing great. Emmanuel Mosley's terrific. Javon Kinlaw is promising. Fred Warner's amazing. And then a lot of guys are coming back on offense next year. I think Kyle Shanahan hasn't shown that he can win consistently with a backup quarterback, but who can? When he has a starter, like a real mid-level starter, he rarely loses. I still think that this is one of the best coached teams in the league. I think they're like the Patriots of the NFC.
Yeah, I do.
And you see what the Patriots are going through right now. The Patriots have some problems. I mean, the most people opt out of the league, opt out of the season. They've had injuries. They don't have their quarterback. But are you betting against the Patriots next year, right now, without knowing what moves they're going to make? I think the Niners are kind of in the same boat. Mm-hmm. I'm not writing the Niners off. I'm not writing them off. As long as, maybe Robert Saleh gets a head coaching job in Detroit and they have to and like Mike McDaniel and all kind of people leave and they have to start over. I don't know, maybe, but I'm not going there yet.
I don't think Robert Saleh will leave unless it's got to be really, really something good. Even if he do, old boy from Atlanta, the head coach from Atlanta, I keep forgetting his name, man. Dan Quinn. I think they'll bring him in if Robert Saleh does decidedly. They run the same system. But last question, man. Like I'm always on this guy, man, because I think like he either gives up a sack or something every game, man. Mike McGlinchey, man. Tell me the story on Mike McGlinchey. Man, what should we do? Because I know he's had a down year, but I'm almost feel like he's so declining that it's almost a liability if we go into next season with a new quarterback, new system. But he is garbage.
He's not going anywhere. I mean, they have to have a contingency plan. They're committed to him. With these first-round picks, you can't save any money if you get rid of him the first. He's staying.
I'm talking about draft somebody, though.
Like, yeah. I know. It's just the problem is that they got to draft a quarterback, and they're light on picks. Yeah, you got to draft someone at some point in the draft. But to me, what happened, I don't know for certain. But with McGlinchey, it seems like heading into the offseason, you knew there were going to be certain players that just came into camp in terrible shape because of quarantine. That whatever they were trying to do, whatever they thought they were doing on their own didn't work. You know, whatever Fred Warner did worked. That guy is in great shape.
Yeah.
But not everyone is. And with McGlinchey in particular, it looks like he came in. He just looks thin, right?
Yeah, he looks like a wide receiver.
He looks freaking thin. So I think at this point in the season, there's nothing he can do about that. There's no quick way to gain 10 pounds of muscle in November. Like, you just blew it. Now you just like you're only going to lose weight from here on out as you play and run around. You just kind of have to, do the best you can and try better next year. Do better next year.
I mean, dude, do you see him getting dog walked every game, man? Every game he is getting whooped.
Here's the thing. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to put together a highlight reel of every time he's gotten thrown around this year because I have them all. I have all the time. And I'm going to put it in slow motion, the coach's film, and put like classical music behind it. It's going to be great. And he's going to hate me forever.
Hey, put the Titanic music and watch him sing.
Oh my God.
Tomorrow morning. Sorry, Mike.
Hey man, I really appreciate you coming on, man. I do, man. I got a lot of respect for what you do, man. I pretty much see all your clips, man, all your shows, man, when they come out. And I just love your take, man. You keep the humor in it, man, and man, you're not afraid to call out garbage play. If y'all want to follow somebody on Twitter, is Grant Cohn on Twitter on game day, man. This dude is lighting him up. He is going in.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Niner fans used to hate me, but I feel like slowly you guys have grown an appreciation for my style of sarcasm.
I love it. I love it, man. I'm the same way, so I get it, man. But I appreciate it. Niner fans, we appreciate you tuning in today. Grant Cohn, once again, man, I appreciate you, man. We have to do this again, brother.
Yeah, anytime, of course.
All right, man, we out.